Hello YouTube. In this video, I will show you guys how to scrap one of these Omnivision VCRs, the old style VHS players. So I just removed this little label here. This thing was broken, so I didn't think about trying to sell it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove these two screws on the top. Alright, now that I've removed that, this top here is made out of plastic. Now I've done that, I mean this thing's really old. I mean, it has all the selector switches on the front to eventually select the different channels and everything, you know, you power switch, and it's just much more in depth. If we pull this back, a whole bunch of little switches. This will be interesting. So now I flip it on the back and I remove a whole bunch of screws from the back. Yeah, see there's a screw there, and a screw on the other side. This back shit comes off. If not, then I'm just gonna have to go underneath and undo a few more screws on the back. Now I've removed all the screws on the back. This panel should come off, revealing a gigantic low-grade circuit board. This is some sheet tin, or your light iron, whatever your scrapyard calls it. And now we're just going to undo a whole bunch of screws that hold this board in place. Now that I have removed all the screws on the bottom, this board is loose. However, it's not going to come out, so I probably want to try to remove the top panel. Let's see if I can do it now. There we go. So this whole piece is some sheet tin as well, or sheet iron, and this front panel should come right off if I just pull up on the tabs. Now this is the old style kind of VCR. VCRs these days will not be this complex. So this front panel here, you might be able to tell it's a front bezel, but for me it's just going to be broken up as plastic. However, check the front for any metallic parts. In this case there's none. Now we flip it to the front. Here we can see plenty of components on the front, lots of buttons and lots of lights here. All these are buttons. All these little black squares are buttons. I got ourselves lots of little potentiometers, switches, some nice chips in there and stuff. So I'll undo these boards and we'll have a closer look. Alright, I have undone the boards, and now I will cut the wires that connect the boards to the main board here. There we go. So on this board here, where all the switches are and various things, there might be some silver underneath all these, but for me it takes too long to get to them. However, there is a nice IC chip up there, and that one will have some nice gold bonding wires in them. A whole bunch of switches which all have silver contacts on the bottom, and another chip right there, and also right there. These two. And a whole bunch of LEDs and just some solder points on the back. Low grade. And on the other one, it's a bit more interesting. Here, there's a vacuum fluorescent display which should have some tungsten wires along the back, or yeah, on the back, where all the interconnects go. And of course, tons more buttons which will have some silver in them as well. Also, pulling back on these little caps, we can see that there's a potentiometer or a variable resistor. Yeah, it's a potentiometer. No, it's a variable resistor. Huh. Anyway, there's also some silver. There's no silver in the variable resistors, but there are some silver in the pads that connect to the board inside the switch. So look out for those when you scrap these things. And since this is so old, there's no surface mount technology used on this. So that's also a little bit. Of course, so plastic with caps. Now, this is what you'll usually see, but in a lot smaller scale inside a VCR today. Got a whole bunch of stuff going on here. So this is the main driver that drives the belt. There's a little belt here. Pull that off. But this whole thing's mainly a chunk of steel, but there's some mechanisms that move the tape around and the tape itself. And so that will have some motors in there. So there's going to be a couple motors in here that we'll want to remove, as well as a little circuit board right there. It's low grade, of course. And so now I'm just going to remove this little screw right there. Oh man, that is tight. Let's see if I can try to get it off. Alright. This piece will be some steel. And now I'm going to locate the screws on this side that hold it in place and undo those so we can get the cage assembly removed. Alright, this is annoying. I got all the screws except this one screw up there. That one in there, it's extremely hard to get out. This looks like I'm just going to have to rip it out. Well, it's hard. Rip it out and I'll cut myself, so I'll just move the screw off camera. Alright, finally. Now flip it upside down. And that part right there is holding it in place, the whole cage in place. And Here we go. Now I'm gonna undo some wires. That hold it to the main board. All right. All right, this piece is plastic. And I'll work on the main board later on. Now this piece, it's kind of interesting, it kind of springs. But anyway, what I want to remove on this board, just flip it over. Wow, okay, there's nothing on the back. But anyway, I want to remove some screws that hold this in place because this is a big aluminum spindle. So I'm going to do that right now. Now here's one hard thing about these older units. These motors are extremely difficult to remove, in my opinion, in this case. The screws are like tight in there, like so. You have to use a lot of pressure and force to remove these. See if I can try to remove. Oh man, that one was tough. I'm just removing another motor. There we go. Move the belt. Flip it over. Nothing? What? What was that moving? Well, anyway, this is going to take way too long, so basically just remove any wiring and any circuit boards you can spot on here, and just remove any kind of solder you can find. Oh my gosh. Remove any motors you can find. And other than that, the rest of it's pretty much just steel. Now onto the main board itself. So on this board, there's a lot of things on it. You just basically want to just snip off any wires we can spot first. Undo any twist ties. Some wire. These wires over here. And of course, undo any wires that hold connections from board to board, or that is from one part of the board to another. power cord here is number 2 insulated with a brass end. There's the brass end. It's nickel plated, I believe. And almost done here. More connector. And finally, the actual. It's interesting. It's actually a connector that they use in computers. I don't think there's going to be any gold on it. They wouldn't use it if they were smart enough. Just gonna pull it off. There we go. Yeah, it's a typical ID hard drive connector, but the pins are not gold. And other than that, that's pretty much all for the board. You can also remove these parts here. Each of these boxes should contain some IC chips, some monolithic ceramic capacitors, which may or may not have silver, platinum, and palladium in them, sometimes even gold. And you want to also remove some covers, and that's pretty much it. So, sorry about the kind of long video. I just like to show you in detail everything on the board and how long it kind of takes to take things apart. So yeah, hope you found that video useful in some way. And please, if you found this video interesting, like the video, comment, tell me what you think, what I could do better, and what I should scrap next. And subscribe for future content and be notified when I make new videos. And also share it with your friends and spread the word about the Scrapman. So yeah, thanks for watching.